So start incorporating these 5 push-up variations and your calisthenics gains will skyrocket. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today I want to talk about push-ups, and not just regular push-ups, but 5 different push-up variations that you can be incorporating into your routine so that your calisthenic skills and your strength will skyrocket. I'm sure you guys have seen a bunch of different push-up variations. You know, there's diamond push-ups, regular push-ups, pike push-ups, and you may have been curious what they exactly work and how they differ from each other. Well, today I'm going to be breaking down the difference between 5 push-up variations. I'm going to make it super easy to understand, tell you guys what it trains, and give you guys a good estimate of what the difficulty level is of these exercises. So let's go straight into it. We're going to start off with the classic regular push-up. You guys have seen this a bunch of times. Many of you guys can probably already do it, and if you can't, no worries at all. But regular push-ups are great for working your chest, your anterior delts, and your triceps. Those are the 3 main muscle groups that the push-up works. And on top of that, you also work your core, your glutes, and your legs in order to maintain a proper body line for the movement. It's a fundamental calisthenic skill that should be in everybody's routine, especially if you're a beginner. So we just talked about how push-ups work your chest, triceps, and shoulders. Now let's move on to push-up variation number 2, the diamond push-up. This is also just known as a close grip push-up, where you're doing push-ups with a very narrow hand placement. Now, a lot of people on the internet and social media will claim that this variation works your inner chest, but that's not necessarily true. Your chest isn't really separated into inner and outer. The fibers are mainly upper and lower, but when you do narrow push-ups, you're actually activating a little bit more muscle of your triceps. And the reason for that is when you do a narrow push-up, you are bending your arms a lot more, which causes your triceps to be in a more of a stretched position, compared to when you do a regular push-up, your elbows don't bend nearly as much. So when you do these narrow push-ups, you're kind of shifting the difficulty over to your triceps just a little bit. And the reason I say just a little bit is because there are studies that say that narrow push-ups don't necessarily activate just your triceps more. In fact, there are studies that say narrow push-ups also work your chest more. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint which one it's exactly targeting. But to keep it very, very simple, narrow push-ups will still work the 3 major muscle groups I talked about in a push-up. It still is going to work your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps, but you might find more difficulty doing these, especially in your triceps, just because of the degree of bend that your elbows have to require in order to perform this full movement. So there you have narrow, or aka diamond push-ups, and usually this is a harder variation compared to others. Next, we have wide push-ups. Now, wide push-ups, just like as it sounds, you're going to be having your hands placed farther than your shoulder width apart, and this push-up variation can be a little bit uncomfortable on some people's shoulders. So make sure to proceed with caution and make sure your technique looks okay. But when you do this wide push-up, the claim is that this is going to work your chest more, because the wider you go in your hand placement for push-ups, and when you go down, you get a little bit bigger of a stretch on your chest. But as same as before, you're still going to be working all 3 major muscle groups. Again, there are some studies that say this does activate the chest more, and there are some other studies that say wide push-ups actually activate your chest a little bit less. So it's kind of hard to tell exactly what is working the most. So sometimes I like to just use some anecdotal evidence. When I do wide push-ups, I definitely do feel it a little bit more in my chest. And when I do narrow push-ups, I definitely do feel it a little bit more in my triceps. But again, be careful with this variation, because some people with their arms flared out all the way over here, it can be a little bit uncomfortable on your shoulder joint. Variation number 4, probably arguably the hardest variation on this list. It's a close second with the diamond push-ups, and that is going to be pike push-ups. Now, this one for sure is going to be switching the muscle groups that are worked the most, because in a pike push-up position, when we perform this movement, we are putting significantly more load on our anterior delts, or the shoulder. This is a great push-up variation if shoulder strength is a little bit of a weakness for you. And just like every other variation, there's still going to be a component of your chest and triceps that kick in, but this one significantly will shift that load more to your shoulders. Pike push-ups are a great variation to work up to movements such as handstands and handstand push-ups, and it is a great variation. My next video coming out in 2 days is going to be a detailed guide for the pike push-up, where I do a step-by-step tutorial on how to perform it, and regressions to make it easier so that beginners can do it as well. Now the last and final push-up variation is going to be the Sphinx push-up. Now this one's gonna look the strangest out of all of them, and just like the Pike push-up, how it shifted the load more onto our shoulders, the Sphinx push-up is going to shift most of the load into your triceps, because all we're doing in the Sphinx push-up is basically just straightening our elbows off the ground, and that is the primary action of the triceps. Our chest isn't responsible for that, and our shoulder is not responsible for that movement, so arguably this push-up variation is almost all working just your triceps. This variation might feel the most awkward at first because it is kind of a strange movement, but once you get the repetitions down and you understand the movement pattern, you will feel a great burn in your triceps. All right guys, so there you guys have it. Those were 5 push-up variations simplified for you guys. Now again, when it comes to the regular push-ups versus narrow versus wide grip, there's subtle differences in muscle activation, but ultimately at the end of the day, just because you do diamond push-ups doesn't mean that you won't be training your chest and shoulders. You're still training all 3 of the major pushing muscles, and it can really just come down to what your personal preference is when it comes to hand positioning. Now, if we're talking about the Pike push-up and Sphinx push-up, those are a lot more specific to the muscle groups that you want to work. So if you want to really focus on your shoulders, do Pike push-ups. If you really want to work your triceps, do some Sphinx push-ups. If you want to work everything, then do regular push-ups, narrow push-ups, or wide push-ups. They're all great. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you found this video helpful, please do me a favor and leave me a like in this video and leave a comment which one's your favorite variation. Now for those of you guys who are brand new to fitness, I do have a free 3-day course that teaches you how to start fitness in a sustainable and consistent manner, focusing on building a workout habit with easy to follow along exercises with the main goal of just showing up. There's follow along workouts, downloadable habit trackers, video lectures, and so much more. So if you guys are interested, click the link in the description below and join the 350 plus students that have already accessed this for free. Other than that guys, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I really hope to see you guys in the next video of mine. Good luck with training and peace out.